The GMC Terrain for 2022, we got a refresh. For 2026, we get this new AT4 in Riptide Metallic over Forest Storm. Joe here at GMC Brooksville has given us to showcase you what we're getting here. We also add a new Denali trim, but when you're going into the AT4, it's a little bit more unique because you're increasing ground clearance. You get a front skid plate. Front and rear bumpers. The grille also gets updated with the standard all-wheel drive and more standard features. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over some pros and cons while I'm going over the full specs of the exterior. We're going to go into the interior and take it for a drive, comparing this against the competition so you can see what you're getting with the new AT4 GMC Terrain. The AT4 gets the blacked out grille, so this is going to be unique only to the AT4. The front and rear bumpers, you'll have these red recovery hooks. Underneath, you're going to have a skid plate with the reworked off-road suspension, 6.52 inches of clearance, which standard is at 5.75 inches with LED headlights, daytime runnings, and fog lights. I like how they incorporate the grille here because it just makes it look a lot more athletic, especially how they incorporate it into the fenders because this is also unique to the AT4 with these all-terrain tires, 17-inch wheels. Now, when you go into the new Denali, the difference between that and this is it's going to be more of a luxury ride, so you're not going to get the tuned suspension. It's going to come with the standard all-wheel drive, but it's going to be lower with ground clearance. AT4 badging, glossy black on the lower skirt. Now, comparing this against competition to the new CR-V Trail Sport, which we have a review on, they do not increase anything for clearance. It's literally just aesthetics, and it's a hybrid powertrain. So it doesn't increase in towing or payload. And even Mazda CX-50 Meridian Edition is not going to give you the extra clearance or updates that you're getting here. It's more of an aesthetic approach, and they do that with pretty much all the competition. They have a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder Ecotec engine producing 175 horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque, which is 19 pound-feet of torque, more than the front-wheel drive configuration, and this is an 8-speed automatic transmission instead of a CVT transmission. You're achieving 24 mpgs for the city, 26 mpgs for the highway, so you could do some light off-road capabilities, and you're still sipping fuel with an all-wheel drive setup. Now, with this all-wheel drive configuration, you're getting 1,500 pounds of towing, but you're going to be less than the Ford Bronco Sport Badlands that's over 2,000 pounds, which is pretty much the only comparable vehicle because when you go to that, you're going to have that off-roadsy suspension, which we have here. But then the payload to that is only 1,200 pounds, whereas here, you're at 1,252 pounds. And the front-wheel drive will be at 800 pounds, so if you're considering the elevation, you would have to pay extra for the all-wheel drive configuration. So adding that to that vehicle, I mean, you're starting to add premium, which you'll still have to add features to get something comparable to this, and this is going to have more standard features. Now, a con that does come into play, though, is you have to pay extra for the pano moonroof. Even when you go into the Denali trim, you still have to option features. In the new Toyota RAV4 TRD, towing is at 3,500 pounds, payload at 1,750 pounds, so it actually conquers a little bit more than this, but then the sticker to that is going to be a few grand more. You do get a refresh. Here we're getting more or less some updates to the exterior and also into the interior because this is an all-new trim. LED taillights and a digital rear view mirror, that's right here, with a 360-degree reverse camera, front and rear parking sensors. Everything's going to be tucked underneath, so it keeps a little bit more of a settled look. This is a new color. It's one of 2 different color choices. You will have to pay a premium for it, but it really highlights the exterior trim, especially with the glossy black. This two-tone, this is also an extra charge. So a few things that I may not tick the box to because you would save maybe $2,000, but I would definitely do the $500-ish for this glossy black on the top. I don't know about the pano moonroof and some of the features in the interior. I probably would tick the box because it doesn't really escalate the price that much. So when you're considering something that can do some light off-road capabilities, it looks stylish, I think GMC did a good job. Power liftgate going into 29.8 cubic feet behind the back seats, which is a pretty good amount of space. LED interior lights, you got a 12-volt charger underneath the floor, you got a little bit more storage. And to split fold the rear bench, unfortunately you have to go back here to do so at a 40-60 split. and that will maximize cargo capacity to 63.5 cubic feet. The key fob to the Terrain AT4. 10-way power seat adjustment for the driver, 8-way power seat adjustment for the passenger because we have the Convenience Package 3, which also gives us the ventilated front seats, the memory for the driver. This is a cloth and a leatherette mixture. And you get the AT4 embossed. 6 speakers is going to be standard whether you go here or the Elevation. The difference though is you're going to have more standard features here. You can still option some of the same features, but the power seat for the driver is an available feature. For the passenger side, you can see the leg space, and he's at 6'2". The panel moonroof, this is an upgrade. And let's fire it up. Digital rear view mirror, auto dimming rear view mirror, home link, LED interior lights. Wireless charging pad is standard. This is a option when you go into the Elevation. You got a little storage pocket here, a full pass-through, and a 15-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. We also have Google Assist, Google Play, Google Maps, Wi-Fi hotspot, and this thing is humongous, the screen setup. I do like the tablet design. I just wish that they would configure this into the dashboard because it literally looks like somebody just brought an iPad and threw it here. That being said, you still have physical buttons here, or you can use the touch screen for the dual climate control settings, which on the Elevation, it's a single climate control. And Google Maps is always very precise. I mean, look how smooth and crisp it is. Now we have the technology package, which gives us this 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear, but it doesn't cover the whole screen, and this is always a con to me. It doesn't matter if I have 500 different camera layouts. Cover up the whole damn screen. You can also put those lines on and off. So reversing is still pretty easy for the most part. It's not really that long of a vehicle, and you have a physical button to turn on and off the sound system here, but unlike Ford, whenever you're doing that, you would have like a little circular effect. Now, one thing also about this system is you have to use a lot of different things through here. So to turn on and off the lights, you got to go into controls. So look, we already hit 1, now we hit 2. Now we got to see more, so that's 3. 4 controls just to put your lights on automatic, to turn the fog lights on, or if you wanted to configure the lights yourself. This could be a lot more simplified. That's all I'm getting at. You have a physical button to turn it on and off. This is going to be a little bit more soft, and that's AT4, which is good. It opens up as soon as I push the button. You got a little storage tray for some change. It's a pretty deep storage pocket. It's a wrapped steering wheel. It's heated, multi-function with the paddle shifts. The gauge cluster is a digital reader. You can go through an array of different content, including putting the navigation on the screen. So thinking about $40,000-ish, I think you're getting a pretty hell of a deal when you're considering you're getting this. Some vehicles that are luxury don't even offer you that. One cool feature about the Terrain is if you leave the vehicle on for so long, it will automatically shut off for you, so you don't necessarily have to worry about, oh man, I forgot to turn it off. It'll turn off automatically. Leg space for the driver is more than enough. Headroom, they do a good job. You have about 3 or 4 inches. Door panel and dashboard, it configures it together. The only thing that I find on a con here is the top materials. It's all plastic. If they would have put a little bit more of like a wrap design like they did on the steering wheel, I think it would have polished it off. I understand this is the off-road and that's what we're going for, so I'll let it slide because it's easy to clean. One touch up and down only for the driver window, and it's soft to touch everywhere that it needs to be with a pretty decent sized storage pocket. For the back seats, this is the opening that you're gonna have. They fit 2 more. You got cup holders and armrests, heated rear seats, air vents, 2 USB-C ports are down there with storage behind both of the front seats. The door card is the same exact design as the front, so you're gonna have that woodish looking inlays. You get the smoke chrome contrast stitch. It's soft to touch where it needs to be. The storage pocket gets about half the size as the front. Sitting behind me, the seats are more or less carved out for you, so you have another probably 6 inches there. Headroom, you got at least 2 or 3 inches here, which is actually more headroom than the front. Sitting back here, you don't necessarily sit on top of the dash. It actually sits downwards a little bit, so I do appreciate that. Sliding into the center, you're gonna share a little bit of feet space, because if you don't, your knees are going to be sitting upwards. So I would recommend just kind of slide over a little bit, but in leg space and shoulder space is actually pretty good for the width of the vehicle. And the same thing for headroom, I still have about 2 or 3 inches. Over 6.5 inches of clearance, 203 pound-feet of torque, which is 19 pound-feet of torque more than the front-wheel drive configuration, the same horsepower at 175 horsepower. With the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder EcoTech turbocharged engine. So you have the motivation there. They don't increase anything for the towing and the payload. You do get the all-terrain wheels and the skid plate and the styling aesthetics on the exterior, plus the all off-roading tuned suspension. So I think that they have done enough for this increasing in price, and it's not really that much when you're considering dropping a tier, because you would have to add the all-wheel drive also, plus some of the standard amenities that we have here. So that kind of makes this a sweet spot vehicle if you are considering getting something to do some light off-road capabilities. Active sound cancellation, that's going to be through the 6 speakers that's standard. In this category, I wish it was a little bit more quiet, but you do have all-terrain tires. It is raised up a little bit. It's a freaking box on wheels. Comfortable though in the interior. The seat comfort is good. But going against the competition, it does go a little bit light when it's compared to Ford. That is really the big problem that comes into play, because if you go into the Ford Bronco Sport, towing and payload is going to be more like we're expressing on the exterior. You just can do a little bit more, but then you're spending a little bit more also. So when you're putting these things into the same category, this by far surpasses everybody that it competes against, because Honda, they don't do anything with the CR-V. It's a hybrid, it's just aesthetics. Toyota, it's going to be the most capable in class, but then you're going to be spending the most money in class as well. Now it's going to take me into some pros and cons. We've already said a ton of pros about the vehicle, so we're going to just dive into some cons. It has to be this 15-inch enlarged screen. I like it, don't get me wrong, and it's very intuitive because it's all Google based. But come on, man, this is literally like a tablet. You just put it in. It's not necessarily something you thought about. It's really an afterthought. Plus, the fact that you have to go into so many pages in order to change different everyday features. I'm gonna give her a little go here. I like that we got an 8-speed automatic transmission instead of CVT. We also increased in the torque. I think those are some things that really make this trim stand out. The same thing with the Denali. The Denali is going to be a little bit more luxurious in the interior because you're going to have leather upholstery, but then you're going to have a lot of hard aesthetics through the interior going into the AT4, which you're only a few grand off, so you may want to consider that, but then you are losing the skid plate, the ground clearance, as well as the off-road tuned suspension. As you get up to a higher speed, it does escalate the road noise in the interior. I wouldn't be so concerned about the off-road suspension. It's not a huge difference. We've done reviews with the regular terrain that has the standard clearance that's almost an inch less than this. I like how this feels a little bit more picked up though. I'm gonna check the brakes. They grab good. Turn radius at a stop point is going to be about 2 lanes. I'm going to stop right here because there's absolutely no one behind us, and check out the performance. So the little turbo 4, it goes. You're going to hear the engine escalate quite a bit, but that is to be expected, especially if you are flooring it. So it's not necessarily something to be concerned about going fast or slow. Now we're going to see the turbo lag. We're going about 25. This is where the motivation starts getting a little bit more questionable. When you're from a stop point and going forward, it is pretty decent off the line, but when you have to do like stop to go traffic, you will feel a little bit more, or a lot more I should say, for the turbo lag. The sound deadening though, I think really needs to be improved, especially considering you are paying extra for this trim. You have plenty of charging ports, standard wireless charging pad, so I do like that you're getting some of those amenities because it just makes it easier for a family use. And I like that you can have the navigation here as well as here, so you don't really have to look off the road at all. Everything is pretty much right in front of you. You got blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, reverse traffic alert. Safety is always in the mind whenever you're going GMC. I would take the box to some of these features though, so I would get the ventilated front seats and the heated rear seats. It just kind of makes this more of a practical vehicle, especially if you live in the state of Florida. It does get pretty hot over here. I don't know about the pano though. I mean, $1,500, I would save the dough there, spend it on something else, and then you really got a steal of a deal. Is it better than the competition? It slots kind of right in between them. It's better than, I would say, more than half, because Mazda's not gonna have something that's as capable as this, but then speed-wise or performance in interior specs, it's gonna be more plush and it's gonna drive a little bit more precise, a little bit better sound deadening, whereas Toyota is gonna be kind of the most noisy, but it's also the most capable for off-road capabilities as well as day in and day out chores if you need to go that extra step. But realistically speaking, when you're buying this particular vehicle and you're looking for a $40,000 price point, I don't think you're going to be dissatisfied with the towing, payload, and all the capabilities that you're getting. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out this next video right here.